competition between collection societies across different territories. So that's going to present a very interesting challenge to PRS, as it will the other companies doing the same job in their countries.
So do you get more licenses coming in the future?
There already are. PRS has already joined forces with the German company and the Spanish company on certain systems which they developed. And the reason for any alliance of that type is to try and drive down costs and do the job which we're all set up to do much more efficiently, much more cheaply, and quite simply get much more money back to you guys who are members. The other challenge, I think, affects us all in the music business, and Matt's touched on it, and it is the challenge that the very essence of copyright faces. There's a lot of people out there in this new world, people who've come and developed their business in the technological arena, who want to use music as a convenience, a piece of software that will enable them to sell more of what they're really after, and that is the movement of hardware, the shipping of more iPods. Apple actually want to use music to shift product, iPods. And there's others who want to use music in much the same way. It's like Ellis has touched on, the devaluation of music. And these people don't like the idea of copyright because it gets in their way. It means that they have to pay for the use of your music. And they much prefer to get your music very, very cheaply, or best of all, for nothing. And the Copyright Act took a long time to get established in this country. It emerged in Europe much earlier, but when it did emerge in this country, it gave you writers a chance for the first time to get a reward each time your music's used, and that principle carries through to today. And it's the same if you're manufacturing product and you're using people's writing or you're using people's performances. The Copyright Act says that the people involved can get some money back for that activity. And there are challenges out there, and there are a lot of big, powerful entities that want to use what we're all part of and what we're all engaged in for nothing. We've got to fight that on your behalf, and you've got to be aware of that and consider that, and make sure that whenever you write something, whenever you let the world hear your music in whatever form, that it's safeguarded and it's treated with respect, and that there's some value attached to it, and you're going to see that value coming back to you.
I think one challenge in the States is just the sheer size of America. I mean, if you look at just you know, the radio stations alone, there's over 12,000 stations in the States. So when we're trying to collect music, you know, performing rights, collect performing rights in the States, it's like, you know, how do we do that? I mean, so we're constantly striving to make sure we can pay as accurately as possible and pay our writers and publishers as much as we can. And you know, you guys, especially if you're starting out, if you're only getting like 2 or 3 plays, you know, limited plays, it's difficult to get caught in those samples. If we're sampling on a particular station, you know, if you're not caught in that sample, you might not get paid. So I mean, something we're striving to do to increase accuracy is, well, firstly we've got this new system called Media Guide, which is actually tracking software. So we can actually track, at the moment we're tracking 95% of music we pay out on in the States, which is fantastic. And it's a system on screen online. So if you're played in, like, you know, Nashville on a certain station, within 30 seconds you can see on screen where you've been played, what time of the day, how many times that day, how many times that week, and over the whole of America basically. So it's information for you guys as well. But you know, that's just something we're constantly battling against, constantly working on, just to strive to make sure we can pay as accurately as possible, so that you guys, you know, as writers and publishers as well, can get as much money and get what you deserve. You know, it's about fairness. You know, make sure we can, you know, pay for when your music's used. And again, that's not just radio. That's across the board, broadcasting, television, all those different avenues where your music is used.
I think it's important to add that certainly in the UK, a lot of work is done to actually identify what analogies should be used. So a company called Marriott did some surveys for POS a few years ago, and they actually went into, let's go forward this code, they went into clubs, they worked out what was being played, literally worked out what was being played, and then compared it to see how similar it was, say, to the Kiss FM playlist, how similar it was maybe to Galaxy FM, how similar it was to a dance chart, and gradually came up with a selection of things that together got very close to what was being played, and maybe it was 20% using the KISS chart, 20% using a dance chart, but basically just to try and get to, so you can't, what you can't do is have someone going to every club, writing the record down, that's what you can't do. But the trick is to try and find something that's similar to it that you can use as an average around the country, which I guess you'll do with similar stuff.
That's right, yeah, if it generalises, that's right, yeah.
So I think there's just a lot of people that we're talking to through Stratford Circus and coming through urban development here. We find there's a lot of people sort of operating under the mainstream radar, like, and it's interesting here with this. I think a lot of labels and individuals might have a situation where they're operating very simply with their labels. They might be releasing a lot of records, but then they're just literally paying some money back to the artists and songwriters themselves, releasing their own operating at a very specialist level. I think it would really help is if, at what stage do you think people should really get involved with that mainstream structure? I mean, if you say even at a very small stage that it's worth doing that, and I think also people find the association is quite unapproachable at times. I think as you see, it's quite a complicated thing that they want to get involved in. And,
you know, as soon as you put a recording on anything, whether you put it on the web or whether it's on a CD or a recording chip, it doesn't matter, it's available. And someone can pinch it, someone can sample it, someone can use it. So from a protection point of view, arguably you should try and do something as early as you can. Because otherwise it's very hard to fight if someone's stolen it and you haven't done anything, it just becomes a much bigger job to do.
I think something else with that kind of movie, we're just starting out and kind of just, you know, trying to kind of get things going. I mean, something due to the competition in the States, we were kind of over here in the UK, kind of being extremely proactive. So we were running showcases, industry showcases to get people down, you know, to perform in front of industry people, A&R and publishers. Also doing things like tip CDs that we send out to all the labels and publishers and managers in the UK. So, you know, we're doing extremely proactive stuff like this. So if you're kind of at that early stage, you know, come and see, you know, us BMI, CSAC, and, you know, try to get involved. We really desperately want to get involved with you guys so we can kind of, you know, hopefully help you kind of on the way to success.
I think from the record label's point of view, I mean, generally most of the stuff we do is on a broader industry lobbying type thing. There are some kind of practical benefits for people that start out as labels. To give you an example, we have quite regular networking seminars and events that we do. Only about the last month, we had a seminar from the people from Nwachukwu, and we talked briefly about MySpace, and that's kind of touching on DIY music. The idea that you get your own recording together, you get your own press people, your own PR people, run your own publishing company, get on board with the MCPS, PRS, sign up with PPL. You do it all yourself, and then try and push it out when you can. And that's what Nwachukwu did. They've got independent distribution, and they ran Shane Ward, the X Factor winner, really close to the Christmas #1 with the JCB song. And then we got the whole team into the BPI. And we're just talking about how they did it, what you need to do, where they signed up, it was their story. I think also, secondly, on a representation level, I think, to be honest, a lot of the benefits that we offer big record companies are for more established record companies, but there are bits and pieces that you can benefit on a very small level. We do things like publish, you get discounts on official charts data, which tell you what's selling where and stuff like that. So there are practical benefits, I think, to the BPI, to AIM, to another independence association. And I think the key thing is to check out the website of all of them, try and get hold of someone and just ask questions if you don't understand what it's all about. Open up.
Yeah, you see the PRS, can you get it backdated?
When you join now, we'll take the membership back to the half year or the turn of the year. So if you join now, we take the membership back to Christmas. If you join like the end of tail end of this year, we take it back to July. Okay. The idea is that what we collect, the money that comes through our system, is always coming in after the plays, after the event. So